We are sitting down and visiting this morning with Jim Stevens. He is the vice president of the commercial division of our buddies over at Muscular Moving Men. And Jim joins us this morning on Business for Breakfast. Good morning, Jim. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
I'm doing awesome, man. We appreciate the time. First of all, obviously, Muscular Moving Men. I'm trying to do the math. I believe it's a little over a decade that about 11 years that they started this thing.
12 years close, correct.
12, but who's counting? This is, it's obviously, and I know Justin and Josh very well, and they are unbelievable in what they do, but you've headed up the commercial division. Now, before we get to all that, I want to ask you about 2020 because, it's been a weird year, obviously, but I'm reading that Muscular Moving Men, you guys are having one of the best years ever in those 12 years. That originally would make me not make sense, but I guess maybe it does make sense. So tell us about 2020 for you guys.
Sure. I think the word that I've heard that distinctly measures 2020 is a bit bizarre for us,
right.
but not negative in any way, shape, or form. If you look at where rates are overall in the housing market, it certainly has prompted many to invest in moving to dream homes, and on the other side of the coin, we're serving those that are in transition. So my core focus is supporting businesses that are in transition, and goodness, there are quite a few, obviously, with everything going on in this pandemic. So a very bizarre year. We certainly held our breath for a couple months around the March timeframe, and we saw things slow down, but things quickly picked right back up.
Jim, you just mentioned the commercial division, and obviously, we just moved into our own building, and Muscular Moving Men moved us about 2 years ago, and it is kind of ironic. I mean, I think I wouldn't want to be in the commercial real estate game right now, to be quite honest, because I think some of these companies are going to look at the bottom line and see, hey, this work from home thing kind of worked. So I would imagine the continued busy streak could continue on for a while.
I agree with that. It's certainly fascinating, and there's a lot of research that's coming out on the work from home movement being forced obviously by the pandemic. I think what's fascinating is obviously there's a huge spend for corporate entities with commercial real estate. On one hand, tenant leasing is way down, retail is way down. On the other end, industrial leasing is exploding right now. So, your industrial brokers are having, record years. There's certainly early on, the work from home was working for a lot of people, but I think certainly those in the age group where you have young children and you're forced into being a professional, a teacher, and a parent at the same time, I think there's a lot of research suggesting that working from home does not allow companies to collaborate as they'd like to, and I don't know that I'm a believer that work from home is here to stay. I think for a certain minority,
right,
it's certainly possible that it is, but I think there's a lot of organizations that are missing getting together, collaborating, reading body language in person, and feeling an ultimate sense of team, if you will.
We are visiting with Jim Stevens this morning on Money Radio's Business for Breakfast. Jim is the vice president of the commercial division of Muscular Moving Men, one of our favorite companies in Arizona, experiencing one of their busiest 12 months in their 12-year history going on right now. Let me ask you about, I know one thing that you guys have done right off the 101 there in Cave Creek, couple buildings now, and one of those is because you'll help people store some of their stuff, right? But are you guys getting a little max capacity right now?
We are, and I think it goes back to supporting those that are in transition, and obviously the housing market. There's a lot of people that are renovating homes that they're moving into, and they need a temporary place for their goods. On the business front, there's a lot of organizations that are rethinking their real estate footprint that need some temporary space before making their next move. So certainly storage is booming as well. No question about it.
Yeah. The obviously there's some other stuff that you've done. Tell me about that. I don't know that Justin and I have talked about this junk removal division.
Yes,
What's that?
yes, we're excited in a lot of ways, and I think, boy, the junk removal industry is a challenging industry to get your mind around. One would think, hey, we've got a moving company, we've got mover athletes, and we've got trucks. Why can't we just go and dominate the junk removal industry? I have such a tremendous amount of respect for our competitors in our industry. We know firsthand how difficult it is to provide excellent service with a labor industry. The best way that I put it, and I describe it, is I've never met a crew level employee that said, I've grown up always wanting to be a mover. So we're in an industry where it's really difficult to find terrific mover athletes, and certainly that's where Justin and Josh are just special. I've been in the industry for a long time, and I'm amazed by their drive and their vision to forward think all day, every day. Junk hauling was a byproduct of us thinking creatively, really, in that March-April timeframe. But I have to give credit where it's due. It has more. Our investment in the junk removal industry has more to do with Ethan Delahunty, our new director of junk removal, than it does with us just moving a magic wand and saying we dub ourselves junk removers. Ethan is a specialist. He understands the importance of supporting the community, and he certainly has a wealth of experience in serving those that are really attempting to find a home for unwanted items. So, for lack of a better term, it's junk removal. But we like to change our focus to where we're just attempting to find solutions for assets to serve a greater purpose where possible. So he's hard at work in establishing relationships in and around the community, and I'm amazed in 3 weeks in business, we're already profitable as a business unit.
That is really cool. Jim Stevens, VP of Commercial Division of Muscular Moving Men, our guest this morning on Business for Breakfast. I want to talk a minute about the fellas. The fellas are those big muscular guys that come and do the moves. And the first time I ever met them was probably about 11 years ago. And I tell this story all the time to Justin. These two guys, I had a bar upstairs in my house. And Jim, this thing weighed like 10,000 pounds. I remember the first guys that moved it, and it wasn't your company, and they said, this is never moving ever again, so tell us where you want it. And so I was thinking I was going to leave this bar in my house because this thing was so heavy. I mean, I couldn't even move it to like sweep under it. And two guys go, where is it? I go, it's right there. And the two muscular moving men went, shoop, and just picked it up and went down the stairs like they were carrying my pillows downstairs. It was the most amazing thing. So I want to talk about the fellas. Obviously, some pivoting for them as well. Obviously, I would imagine masks are required now. So these guys it's a workout. I mean, they're getting in there, they're moving all your stuff, they're doing it carefully, efficiently, quickly to try to save you money. How have the boys been with all the changes?
Incredible. I'm blown away, and as I mentioned, I've been in the industry for 19 years. I've came out last February, and I was so intrigued by the business model that Muscular Moving Men has, and so inspired by Justin and Josh to take a logical next great step in my career. But this morning, Josh and I were in at 5:30 in the morning lifting. I have no doubt that Justin was hitting the weights, probably at Mountainside. But we've got a 2,000 square foot gym in our facility. The disruptive thought in our industry is there's a lot of moving companies that say, why in the heck would you have a gym taking up billable space and affecting your bottom line? And the way we feel about it is, number one to us are our mover athletes. And number two to us is our clients. And I know that may not be popular, but we're pretty centered on this keystone value that if we take care of our team members, they will take care of our clients. And they've done just such an exceptional job with the stringent policies we have in place with temperature testing and verifications on where they've been or who they've been around in the last 24 hours. We're doing that on a daily basis. Sanitization of their trucks and adding an extra 10 to 15 minutes every single day in dispatch. But the one core principle that we haven't lost focus on is we are about providing our clients with healthy mover athletes that don't struggle to get assets moved, that can mitigate risk. And in the 6th hour of the day, especially, as you know, in 110 degrees, they're not screaming uncle, 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 and saying we need backup. They're fit and ready to take on the challenge of accomplishing the mission. So they've been pretty inspiring to me.
The only negative when you hire the muscular moving men, this is, I mean, sorry, Jim, I have to bring it up, but all of a sudden the housewives in your neighborhood are all going to come over and be like, hey, what's going on? You're like, get out of here. I'm moving. Beat it. You haven't talked to me in 2 years. Beat it. Get out. Just kidding. Jim Stevens from Muscular Moving Men. Great time to catch up. We appreciate it. I'm happy for you, your success, being a part of this awesome team. Justin and Josh are two of my favorite individuals in all of Arizona because I've watched them grow this thing from nothing to what you are today, and it's really, really cool. And obviously, guys like you and some of the people you brought on, it's only going to make it better. So thanks for filling us in on what's going on. Before I let you go, let's tell everyone the best way to reach out to Muscular Moving Men, maybe to hire you guys to do one of the many things we talked about today.
Sure. Best way to reach out to us is muscularmovingmen.com, m3commercial.com, or m3junkremoval.com. There's an easy request form that you can fill out, goes direct to our team, and a team member will be in touch within a matter of hours.
Very cool. Jim, good stuff. We'll appreciate the time, and have a great Thanksgiving. We'll talk soon. Tell the boys I said hello.
You as well. Thank you so much.
Yep. Jim Stevens, VP Commercial Division, Muscular Moving Men, literally one of the best companies in Arizona. I love talking about them because I've used them, 4 or 5 times, business moves, personal moves. They're just awesome. Great guys.